Alright lads, so today we are jumping into the arranged REAPER guild quest because now we have access to the extra level 4, and with that we're going to showcase a few different characters here. Giselle, 7th anniversary Ichigo, and we'll even see how Askin can perform in guild quests. Now, of course, if you want to have the easiest time possible in this guild quest phase, you do want to get a character like Giselle. She is currently available right now in a rerun banner. I would recommend skipping that despite her being a meta character for this guild quest phase. And it's more so just because we're probably going to get a new Swordsman killer eventually. And even then, in like 3 months time, I wouldn't be surprised if Giselle does start becoming a filler alongside Bambietta and also Saruchi. So as we are so close to the 10th anniversary, I think the banner's a skip. Even if Giselle is really good, you can get her later on, and you might even be able to get Giselle's potential replacement. Nonetheless though, if you want to make Giselle as best as she can be, this is how you are going to want to build her. We're going to use a Quincy, Cross, and also Speedball at 5-star plus, with also the killer sticker. We're going with as much full stamina damage and recharge as we possibly can give her. And for the sake of this showcase, we are performing like a 2 out of 5 character, so level 10 SP, level 11 focus. My sword bomb will be hitting harder since I have gotten the character special move level 5, but I have actually gone ahead and removed some of the transcendent slots. 1 out of 5, 5 out of 5, 2 out of 5, honestly it doesn't matter. Giselle is good enough for this guild quest phase. Now alongside Giselle, we are also using Aaroniero. She probably is the more important character, especially if you are lacking Giselle. Normal attack damage characters reign supreme in the extra levels, going against 4 individual bosses, and Aaroniero serves as the team booster, the main normal attack damage character, and when paired with Giselle, Giselle actually gives Aaroniero a 30% damage buff, as they are both technique characters. So they work very well together, especially when right now the final boss is a speed character. With that in mind, this is going to be the best build for your normal attack damage characters, and give as much normal attack or full stamina damage as possible. Grammy is strictly here to boost Giselle, giving 20% more strong attack damage, an extra 20% through the Mugetsu soul trait, and also 30% more damage to enemies that are inflicted with a status element. And with that said, let's see how this does go. Now, I'm not going to try and go for the highest scores. I just want it really clear. So we're going to start off with the SA2. Now, Giselle's combo... Oh, hold on. Where the hell is the enemy? Maybe for future reference, don't go with max settings on, because sometimes it does make it hard to see where the enemies are. I guess we'll do 2 runs with each individual character. And Giselle we can kind of mess around with. So the SA2 into a 1 or an SA2 into a 3 usually is enough to completely wipe out a single phase of a guild quest round. So going into the final boss Ichigo, we completely messed up that phase there. 41 seconds remaining for a 2 out of 5 Giselle is actually on the low end. You can definitely get in the 50s with that. I didn't even get to use my EX skill. But I guess it just goes to show, if you want to have the easiest time, Giselle is that character, right? Remember, Dominate does allow Giselle to do 130% more damage. And at the same time, while we can't really see it here, it does make it so the bosses can't deal any damage to us. So it gives us that protection, even if it is a tad bit awkward where the enemies start walking around. But you know, you're not really timed in the extra waves, so the enemies walking around aren't that big of a deal. And with that, without even resetting just going in, albeit we did kind of bad in terms of our strong attack usage, we cleared with 41 seconds remaining and did clear all 4 extra levels. Let's go ahead and try that again, this time hopefully with a much better score. Can we get into the 50s? Hopefully we can. So let's go in, SA2, and then 1, there we go, lovely. Going into Renji with SA3, almost one-shot the entire wave there, yeah, that's actually kind of crazy. If Aaroniero was doing her normal attacks, that would have been even better. So, again, the SA2 into the 1 is just a great combo to have. You can probably EX it, then Soul Bomb, finish up with the 1, and then going into the final stage, we can 1 or SA3 into the 2. 48 seconds, that's much better, right? Again, if you're fast with your strong attacks here, you can definitely get into the 50 at 1 out of 5, 2 out of 5, and of course, especially at max transcendence. We're not going to do that for today's video, because again, I just want to go in and out with the characters, right? Just see how they feel without having to reset. And it also gives us then time to focus on the other characters, which you might be using if you do not own Giselle. So we're going to try out Ichigo after this 7th anniversary version and see if he can potentially beat it. But it's definitely going to be a bit more awkward, I will be honest. Definitely will be more awkward. 7th Annie Ichigo, in a way, can be better if we get more normal attack damage support. Because right now, we only have access to Aaroniero. So we are going to use a resurrectable character that can be a normal attack damage, probably Tokinada. If we had 2 normal attack damage characters with Flurry plus 2, it would make Ichigo a bit more reliable. But to be fair, by the time we get our next normal attack damage character for the ranged Sword Reaper Guild Quest phase, likely we will also have a new SP lead that you can use in replacement of Giselle, or maybe just be an additional character that you can use, because this Guild Quest phase right now, besides Giselle, is definitely lacking. So I know I just said we use 7th Anniversary Ichigo next. Let's actually go ahead and use Askin first and foremost. And that's mostly because I don't want to change my accessories. We can go with the exact same build this time around. And in regards to what Askin is going to perform, at least according to lastnotice.net, you will see that he does serve as a decent substitute if you do not own Giselle. The thing is though, if you have been playing this game for a while, you're more likely to have a max transcended Ichigo, where in that case he will actually be better than a 1 out of 5 Askin. If you did somehow manage to max transcend Askin, he will definitely be a good lead, and technically would be better than Giselle at 1 out of 5. But you know, there's still some differences here. Askin doesn't have a very good strong attack hit. He also doesn't inflict any good status elements. Giselle can inflict dominate, stopping the enemies from attacking you. Likewise with Ichigo, he can inflict weakening and also paralysis, allowing your team to deal more damage and also stopping the enemy in place, which is more important than ever, especially in this poised meta that we have going on in Guild Quest. So on paper, Askin should be decent, but let's actually see how he does perform in gameplay. So in all honesty, the thing that we're maybe relying on here is for Gremmy to inflict status elements. Because remember, even though we can inflict, what do you call it? Poison plus, you know, Gremmy can still inflict status elements. So I guess in this case, we're going to do similar to what we do with Giselle, where we just constantly use that SA. Oh, that SA1 did really good damage there. The problem is though, it won't push back the enemies. Then again, it's not going too bad. Hold on. It's going decent. Let's sob him now. Maybe I didn't need to sob him, to be honest. Now all the enemies are split apart. Let's SA1. Got the spiritual pressure boost. Okay, this ain't bad actually. SA, and he's tech 2. Hold on, yeah. Askin might be the guy. He might be the guy if you do not have a new Giselle. Or she's not new, but look at that. So first 5 waves are pretty decent. He can clear it at the very least, but now it's going to get a bit awkward. We have to kind of catch the enemy. We kind of need him to come after us. We don't really want our characters taking damage here. Likewise for ourselves, right? Okay, first boss down. Into the SAU2. We did get the paralysis proc. Lovely. Hopefully that means we can get our status proc too. There we go. Now keep in mind, Askin's increased status chance is against how many? It's against all speed enemies, right? Okay, so unfortunately it does not look like we are going to clear all 4 extra levels, but you know, he made for a decent lead despite that not really being his job. He's a farmer first and foremost. That's what he's mainly there for, and he's a character you can use if you did pull on the recent banner. That was the view going into this banner too, that he's not going to be a Guild Quest unit, but someone that you can actually use as a substitute if you just want to get a decent score, or maybe collect as much orbs as you possibly can from the Guild Quest rewards. We weren't able to be all 5 waves, but for a character like this, I think that is fine. Maybe if you get his focus stat, maybe if you have Orihime's focus stat, you'll be able to beat it with ease. Unfortunately, right now for my team, only at 1 out of 5, I couldn't get to extra level 5, at least in our very first attempts. So maybe if we reset enough, we can clear all 4 extra levels, but we're just going to go in and see where it does go. So decent start, not the greatest. Gremmy's Vortex does kind of mess it up. It helps us out, to be fair, but in this case, I don't think it's doing much helping for the first wave. I remember if Gremmy does actually inflict the status on it like he did there, we can still get our spiritual pressure boost. Let's do that. Just keep Rukia away. Use our normal attacks just to inflict status on it potentially. Going into Ishin, this is where the bosses start to have poise. Okay, decent. I use my SA3 that I have no idea where the boss are. Yeah, this ain't looking too good. Right now, the problem with a character like Askin is that the enemies kind of just get lost with a team like this. I'm wasting so many strong attacks at this point. Maybe we had a better start on our first attempts. Not so good this attempt. I guess we can just sub them. We don't apply weakened defense. We're going to clear all 5 waves here, but not the proudest run, I will be honest. Can we clear at least extra level 1? Hopefully. Hopefully. Yeah, we got 20 seconds. We should be able to clear the first boss. And Grammy got the status proc too. Quite low damage from Orihime right now, but I guess we have built her to not have any recharge. So again, maybe you actually want to build this team without Grammy, and instead have another team booster like Tokinada, which we are going to use on next run. So unfortunately, that run was much worse. Much worse, but again, that's kind of fine. Askin's not a Guild Quest character, but if you have dupes of him, maybe you can make him work as a decent substitute until you do pull Giselle in the future. Because eventually you will. She will become a filler, hopefully around 3 months' time. She could be seen during the 10th anniversary, who actually knows. And next up for our final team, we're going to use 7th Anniversary Ichigo, which I'm hoping you watching this video don't have to struggle through this, because it's definitely going to be a bit of a struggle. It is still crazy to a certain extent that we're using characters like 7th Anniversary Ichigo, a character with Frenzy +1, by the way. We're now into Big Frenzy 3, maybe Frenzy 4 during the 10th Anniversary, I don't know. And we're still using characters with Frenzy +1, but ultimately the reason for that is because, again, mainly due to the fact that we haven't gotten that many new ranged Sorcerer killers. Unfortunately, though, what that does mean, if you are using a character like Ichigo, you're going to have him max transcended. I'd be surprised if you can do it at 1 out of 5 or 2 out of 5. But given that this character is quite old, maybe you have him max transcended. Hopefully you do. And of course, the way you are going to build him is the same way we build every other character. A 5-star plus strong attack damage item, 5-star plus speedball, and then also the killer sticker. Give him as much full stamina, strong attack damage, recharge as possible. Orihime is still the same. She remains unchanged. And then we're also going to use Tokinada. Once more, unfortunately, because this character is quite old, you are going to want to have him duped out, as much dupes as you can have potentially into him. At least level 10 attack and focus, which you can do if you have pulled him, because you can take him into the special move trial quest. You're going to build him the same way you build other characters like Orihime too. And in this case, I'm kind of going with 1 recharge link and then also 2 normal attack damage soul traits in the hopes that, they can just stack their boost SA2. Both Orihime and also Tokinada can use it. There might be a bit of downtime when the boost isn't active, but hopefully it's enough. You could, if you really want to, like always, throw on the Mugetsu soul trait onto a character like Tokinada, but I'm just going to go without the Mugetsu soul trait in hopes that our normal attack damage characters can carry us. But you know what? I don't want to call it carrying, because Ichigo, he does his own carrying, to a certain extent. So the thing is that we can actually inflict status on him straight away, right? And then when we get the weakening proc, there you see it, we do a lot of damage, especially if the 2 normal attack damage characters can take advantage of the weakening. Like, look at that. Very, very good. Let's hope everyone gets dragged in. We're going to need to get these status procs as fast as possible next couple waves. So going into Ishin. I might actually save my Soul Bomb. See, unfortunately we took some damage there. We'll keep it going though. We'll use our Soul Bomb next phase, because we can get back up to full stamina. Just that's the one thing you got to be careful with Ichigo, is that you need to, stay at full stamina. So Soul Bomb, SA2. Into the 1. We're using all the strong attacks that we can. Maybe if we didn't take damage, we would have been fine. We were actually doing pretty good, like the first 4 waves there. We'll keep it going. At this point, it just comes down to RNG Central. Can we get the status procs? Unfortunately, no status, increase is going to be a bit of a struggle, but that's where the Vortex is going to come in clutch. And then again, to be fair, we do have the weakening and paralysis every 5 seconds. So it's going decent, but not the best. We're definitely going to do another attempt here. Maybe 3 with a character like this. This is where the run just slows down heavy, because we're just not getting status procs. Like, not a single status proc in, like, 2 vortexes. We got it there. Unfortunately, no one's attacking. It clears the first 2 waves. But that's the way I would consider a bad run. I would not consider that a good run whatsoever. Because, again, you want it to be flawless. You don't want to take any damage. But let's try that once more. In this case, I feel like I want to save my Soul Bomb for the first... Oh, yeah, a little lag spike there. I completely whiffed that SA2. Still decent for the fact that we messed up there. There we go. Hopefully the SA1 could take down the left mob. It didn't, but the enemy got dragged in, so it's fine. So going forward to the next boss, that's when they start having poise. So we have to be careful here. Got the status proc, lovely. Let's use R1. Leftover enemy, unfortunately. That's fine, because that SA2 is back in just time. And we do take care of all the small ones, I believe. Okay, potential. We have 40 seconds, so we kind of have to clear 4 waves in 10 seconds. Let's just solve them straight away. Get the enemy out of the way. There we go. SA2. Into the 3. We got the status proc. Lovely. Okay, hopefully get the status proc once more. Not quite. We'll find out when we get the SP boost. We got it there. This is possible. You're just going to keep it going. Come on. Ishin, go down. Okay, it's close though. I don't think we're going to do it. We need to get another status proc. Did we get it? Someone got a status proc. I don't think it was us. You know what happened? I think we got a status proc right at the end of our spiritual pressure boost. So, unfortunately, we had to wait like 8 seconds there before the SP boost could even come back to us. That's the unfortunate thing about characters that don't have status and plus. But, hey, potential. We'll do a 3rd run with this character, and this should be the time we actually beat all 4 extra levels. All right, final attempt, here we go. SA2. Into the 1. Status proc, nice. Let's use our 3. Into the 1. Back up, because we don't need to use the SA2 against the 2nd boss there. We get a status proc there, lovely. And that gives us time to use our SA3. And then 2. Okay, maybe didn't need to use the 2 there, to be fair. To make sure, hopefully someone got hit by the status element. Not quite. Oh, someone did just then. Potential. This is where we slow down. Because unfortunately the, the boost, I think, wore off. But we have 40 seconds once more. It's always 40 seconds remaining. We're going to use the SA2. And then when we got a status proc, let me just use our soul one right away. While the boost is still active. SA2. Oh, we took damage. No. I mean, maybe we can still do it if we just get the status procs. Does it? Yeah, see, it's just so RNG dependent. We got it there, at least. We got it there. And then all the damage is gone. That's a bit disheartening. That was actually going very well, in my opinion. We made it to the final boss. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. I think, if anything, since we are saving our summon for the final boss, you might want to give the character weakened defense and maybe save the summon for the final boss. If you have Orihime at special level 2, so attack and focus, that makes a massive difference. And, you know, considering that we were close twice now, you probably could do it. So, unfortunately for me, I'm not going to keep resetting just to beat it with Ichigo, unfortunately. But I've seen that it can be done with the same team. So it is possible. Just understand it's going to take a long time unless you get super lucky with your status procs. If you aren't in an S League guild, I don't think you need to stress yourself to beat all 4 extra levels using a character like 7th anniversary Ichigo. Just get as far as you possibly can and get as much rewards as you possibly can. If you can't beat the 4th boss, it's not that big of a deal. You're only missing out like 5 orbs. You know, no need to stress out over it and just come back later on with a new updated team, assuming Giselle becomes a tad bit more common in the future, and if we potentially get a new Sniper killer. Because I think at this point we kind of do. I know in my guild, I know other people too, not everyone has access to Giselle. She's like basically the only lead for this guild quest phase. I mean, technically you have Askin now, so, you know, decent. But we definitely, for such a populated killer, that being Snipers, we do need more ranged super killers. And that also goes for NAD characters too, you know, because we were using Tokinada. It's a team that consists of 2 very old characters. Tokinada came out like 5 years ago. 7th Annie Ichigo is approaching 3 years old at this point, and there's been a lot of power creep over the last 2 years, especially for spiritual pressure units. If we didn't have Tokinada and instead had a new normal attack damage character with 3+2, that actually would have helped us beat it because Tokinada's damage output isn't the craziest. So any support this guild quest phase can get, the better. So there you go. That's the video for today. 3 characters that we used. Unfortunately, only the Giselle team beat all 4 extra levels. But like I said, Ichigo can do it. It's just super RNG heavy. I guess at the same time, some people are still using Aizen and Noelle. So, you know, just make what you can work. Use your best characters. If you have Giselle, it's the easiest quest out there. If you don't, it's very much going to be a struggle. And hopefully you have Orihime too, because even with Giselle, without Orihime, it's also a bit awkward as well. I mean, likely Giselle can carry, but Orihime is a must-have character, especially if you are lacking Giselle. Either way, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys next time. Take care, and peace.